Talking with Jasmine and just making amends with her, it was amazing. And then finding out the ticket was already booked, that was a slap in the face. No, actually, that was a punch in the face. We're roomies. Like, we share the same bathroom. There's so many opportunities to tell me it's up.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss Summer House Martha's Vineyard, Season 2, Episode 3. And before we get into it, let me just say, this was their best episode so far. I enjoyed it. The drama was good. It was just enough. And a lot to talk about regarding Mariah and them wanting Phil to come back to the house, because I have many thoughts. But overall, a great episode. I was here for all of it. And guys, once again, let's get the ratings up for Summer House Martha's Vineyard. I would hate to see this show be canceled. The numbers aren't there, right? Like, the ratings are not giving what they're supposed to have gave, in the words of Rolling Ray. But yeah, tune in. It's a cute show. It's a fun watch. And it's definitely needed after Potomac, because Potomac is on some BS. But with all that being said, let's just jump right on into it, because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. So we open up this episode right where we left off last week, with Nick and Summer in Jordan's room, and he wants to get to the bottom of this conversation about them feeling like he's a bit too handsy with them. So Nick is like, have I ever been inappropriate with you guys? And they're like, no, you just get a bit close when you're drunk. So they both want to know, why are you asking us this? And Nick says, because it was brought up downstairs. Preston, Amir, and Alex brought it to my attention a few minutes ago. So I wanted to hear it from your mouths, like, do I make you feel uncomfortable? So here's my thing, right? It was a bit messy of y'all to tell Preston this instead of telling Nick this directly. If you feel like he's a bit too handsy, let him know that one-on-one. But I feel like that's messed up, and it also makes this a bigger deal than what it is, because Nick looked panicked in that room. We all know how this goes. You don't want those kind of allegations. We saw what happened last season of Potomac when Giselle lied on Chris Bassett, okay? And he lost jobs and money from that. So we don't want another Chris Bassett situation. And again, I'm not trying to negate Jordan and Summer's feelings, but I feel like next time, just tell Nick this directly, because you telling this to other people, it blows us out of proportion, and it does make it seem like y'all think that Nick is a creep. And Nick makes it clear in his confessional that him, Jordan, and Summer are super close, and it's nothing but love. It's just friendly. He's affectionate. And he goes on to say, if you're my friend, just keep it 100. And I agree with that. And I told you guys, Nick in person, he's very sweet. What you see is what you get. Like, he's just as affectionate and touchy-feely in person as he is on camera. He doesn't mean any harm by it. He's a very friendly person. Again, he was lovely to talk to, and just, you know, he's really fun. And again, you could tell that Nick was hurt hearing this, because he was just like, wait, let me just be clear. I've never made you guys feel uncomfortable, right? And they were like, no, not at all. You're not a creep. You're not a peeping Tom. And I'm like, but Jordan and Summer, y'all make it seem like it's something else when you talk to other people and not Nick about this. So now you have one of the producers asking Jordan if she would like it if her man were handsy with his friends, and she's like, no. She goes on to say that Nick isn't slinging dick or anything, but he is a bit too handsy, and he needs to stop that, because he gives the vibes that he's not committed to his relationship. Now, present day, Nick and Tasia are no longer together. So he's no longer committed to anybody, okay? He's a free man. But I'm glad that we didn't spend too much time on that. They all resolve it, and I said, thank God. So now we see Nick leave their room. He goes downstairs to join everybody else in the kitchen. And now we see Shanice in her room, and she's on the phone with her mom. So Shanice says that her and her mom are super cool. They're really close. She tells her everything. And a quick side note, they show the picture of Shanice's mom, and Shanice's mom is white. Now, I saw on Twitter that people were surprised that Shanice was biracial, and I was just like, you guys clearly did not watch season 1, because Shanice had said when she came to the house that she was biracial. So I was just like, y'all weren't listening because she had said this already. But anyhow, Shanice is telling her mom about the drama that went down with her and Summer, about Summer saying that she's the worst dressed in the house. And her mom had me screaming. She was like, what? Is this some kind of competition? How does she dress? She's not a designer. Who is she to say that you don't dress well? And then when her mom went on to say that she would have knocked her out, I said, ooh.
My God. And you're going to always get it again and again and again.
Now, I love the fact that Shanice's mom does not play about her, because neither does my mom. But if I had told my mom that somebody called me worst dressed and it was because the funds weren't there, best believe that my mama would have zelled me some money so I could buy some clothes. Because no matter how old I get, my mama always got me, all right? And my dad was the same way. So yeah, my mama would have said, okay, girl, how much you need? Because nobody's going to call my baby worst dressed. You going to have some money to buy some clothes. But we do find out that Shanice is getting ready for tonight because she's hosting the pool party in the backyard. So now we cut to everybody getting ready. They're blowing up the floaties for the pool. They're setting everything up. And we see Alex and Noelle in the kitchen. They're flirting and joking. It was cute because Noelle had on her bathing suit and then she had an orange cover up. So she's like, orange, you glad to see me? Get it? So Alex is like, oh, that's cute. I like that. So he goes on to say that he's liking Noelle's vibe. She's fun and lighthearted, and he likes that. And I know I said this in the first recap, but Noelle reminds me so much of Tamar Braxton. It's the facial expressions and how animated she is and all that. Like, she's very much Tamar. So everybody's outside for Shanice's pool party. They have the foam in the pool. Everybody's having some fun, taking shots. Shanice got a slip and slide, and she gets on the slip and slide naked. Now, one thing about it, Miss Shanice is going to always take off her clothes, or should I say her bikinis, because she doesn't really wear clothes. She's always in a bathing suit. But Miss Mamas gets naked. You have Bria saying that she loves naked Shanice, just not around her man. Now, do I feel like Shanice does a lot of stuff for attention? Yes. Do I think that she's a bit annoying? Yes. But I don't have any issue with her getting naked. I mean, girl, you have one life to live. You don't have any clothes, so might as well, right? Now, at one point, it started raining. And you have Jasmine saying, I need to protect my edges. And she's like, okay, so black girl math is I have my hair out and somebody else's hair. And this rain means that I'm going to be spending more time on my hair than on the festivities tomorrow. And I'm just like, black girl math is knowing that before vacation, you should be getting your hair braided or in twists. Some sort of protective style. I don't know why these girls insist on wearing their hair out when you could just braid it up for the 2 weeks that you're going to be away. You know that your leave out's going to be looking crazy. The weave's going to be all matted up. So just get some braids. And braids always look good, okay? You always look like that girl with some braids in. So, but you know what? Y'all insist on having your hair out. So if you like it, I love it. But as for me, I'm going to be braided up. Because nobody has time to deal with the frizz and the tangles and trying to get your edges to lay down after it was already ruined by the rain and the humidity. Like, who has the time? And Jasmine, I'm guessing that sometime during this season, you announced your pregnancy, because it was so obvious at this point that you were pregnant, because the way you were drinking anything but alcohol, and when you were in the hot tub at one point, you were drinking tea. I said, girl, why are you drinking tea in a hot tub? So we see two of Shanice's friends come to join the pool party. Their names were Christian and Hendrix, and they're both really cute guys. All the single girls were low-key salivating over the both of them. And I think Christian was the one who looked like Bad Bunny. And Bad Bunny is so cute to me. Like, he is so handsome. And I was like, yeah, he does look like Bad Bunny. But Noelle and Hendrix had a connection because at one point they're flirting with each other and Alex looked so pressed. I just said, oh, Alex, if you want her, then get her. Like, stop being so passive and say, you know, Noelle, I want to get to know you more and take you out. But you've just been doing all this light flirting and not really, you know, being aggressive. So Noelle has every right to flirt with somebody else. But yeah, they bite into a cupcake together because it was Hendrix's birthday. I just said, But Shanice's pool party was fun. And I have to say, I like that they had other people join them because it just gave you some more variety. Because I get tired of only watching just them in the house. So to see that Shanice brought some other friends in the mix, that was cool. Because in the original Summer House, they usually always have parties at the house and they'll invite a whole bunch of people. So I'm glad to see that on Summer House Martha's Vineyard, they have some people coming to the house and having some fun. I like that. But now the pool party is over because they want to go out to the club. And we see Alex and Noelle in the kitchen flirting again. So Noelle's asking Alex, when was his last relationship? Alex says that he was seeing somebody, but he ended things because he didn't want anything serious. He wanted to focus on himself. And I swear, every time Noelle and Alex have some one-on-one time together, Summer always has to pop up. It was so weird that all of a sudden Summer came walking in talking about, oh, I can't find my phone. Have you seen it? Alex looked at her like, girl, please. You came in here because you're obviously bothered and pressed. And Summer, you make it very known that you still like Alex because every time Alex is alone with Noelle, you always find a way to pop your head in. But we do see half the group go out to the club. I think it was Shanice, Alex, Nick, Amir, Bria, and Shanice's friends. And then everybody else stayed home because Jasmine, Preston, Jordan, and Summer, they all stayed behind. And it really pissed me off because since Bria was at the club, she wasn't there to pick up after Milo. Because you see Milo pooping and Jasmine is picking up after him. And I'm like, Jasmine, that's not your dog, that's Bria's dog. Bria should be there to pick up after her dog. So now it's the next morning, everybody's cleaning up from the pool party the night before, and we see Jordan go into Shanice's room to talk about Summer. Now, I had no idea that there was still lingering tension between Summer and Shanice because I thought that they had resolved that in the last episode. I didn't know that Shanice was still angry. But anyhow, Jordan wants to know if Shanice has talked to her yet. And Shanice says, no, not yet, but I plan to. So now Jordan says that she doesn't think that Summer has bad intentions, but that you do have to check Summer from time to time. And we find out that Jordan had to check Summer before they got there. So Jordan says that recently, when Summer was staying with her at her place, they had gone out and Summer and Jordan's friend, who happens to be a bartender, they were making out in front of Jordan's building. So Jordan's like, they were doing the most, my doorman could see them, everybody in my building could see them, and I'm like, can you not do that? And I had to yell at her. Then she goes on to say that it's hard enough being a black woman, but to be a black woman on Park Avenue, it's like, don't add this extra drama to my door. Now we know how Jordan is. Jordan has a very sharp tone. She goes from 0 to 60 like that. I hated that about her in season 1 because I'm like, girl, who are you talking to? Her tone is always off. So I can only imagine how she spoke to Summer about that whole incident with Summer and the bartender. So now we see Noelle, Preston, Amir, and Bria all out on a grocery run. And when they were at the store checking out and we saw Amir pay for it, I was like, wait, bravo. Y'all don't pay for the groceries for them? It's bad enough that their checks aren't that big because they're only in their second season of the show. But the least you guys can do is pay for the groceries for them. Like, my God. Or maybe production reimburses them after the season is over. Who knows? But I just said, bravo. I really hope that you give this cast a raise, and I hope that you guys pay for the tab. Because I noticed in the last season, every time they would go out, when they did bowling, I think Nick paid for it. I'm like, bravo, you guys have the money. You guys are making tens of millions of dollars on all these shows. You guys have the funds to make sure that your employees are taken care of and don't have to worry about paying out of pocket for their food and activities, especially for a cast like Summer House Martha's Vineyard, where you have people who don't have a job, don't have money for clothes, they're crying about how money's low. The least you guys could do is give them all a break. I mean, I'm just saying. But anyhow, I digress. So back at the house, we see Jasmine asking Jordan and Summer if they have any plans to invite friends to the house. They both say yes. So Jasmine's like, well, that's cool because Mariah's going to come out. I invited her and I want her to be in this house. So we all remember what happened with Mariah last season. Mariah was unfairly voted out of the house because of her little spat with Bria. But Jasmine says that her and Mariah's friendship was tested and they eased back into it. It looks like her calling Mariah a lot and FaceTiming her for them to get back on track. Remember that her and Mariah were super close, very good friends, best friends. They had been homeless together at one point, so they have history. And one thing that I love about Jasmine has no issue owning up to when she was wrong or when she's fallen short. And that's such an incredible quality to have because she's not too proud to say, you know what, I was wrong, I messed up, and I want to be better. And so many people, especially on these shows, could take a page out of her book because she takes full ownership. And Jasmine is very sweet in person. Oh my gosh. Talking to her is like talking to a friend that you've known for ages. I mean, we had a great time. But again, I love how Jasmine wants to get Mariah back on. And I agree. I don't think that Mariah deserved to be kicked out of the house. And a quick side note, I keep seeing people on social media ask, how come Summer House Martha's Vineyard is only filmed over 2 weeks and not the entire summer like the original Summer House? Because the logistics of getting to the Hamptons is easier than getting to Martha's Vineyard, especially if you live in New York. So that's why with the original Summer House, they're able to film the entire summer because it's easier to get to the Hamptons from the city versus getting from Manhattan to Martha's Vineyard. Now, maybe if the show gets renewed for more seasons, maybe they might extend the time and have them film for an entire month and not 2 weeks. I could see that happening, but I don't think that they'll ever get to the point where they film for the entire summer. I could be wrong, who knows? So now Summer shares that Shanice and Bria told her that Phil is going to be coming to the house as well. Jordan was not here for it. She said, oh no, Phil can stay right where he's at, like he is not welcome in this house.
No.
You have Jasmine saying that everybody deserves a second chance. And then she says, honestly, we're going to need to have a house meeting about this. That's the long and the short of it. Now, when Preston, Noelle, Bria, and Amir came back from the grocery store, you have Noelle saying, oh, hey, Alex, I bought you a tofu sandwich. Because we all know that Alex is vegan and he doesn't drink. So instead of Alex being grateful, he's like, oh, well, I don't eat tofu. And I was just like, Alex, you can't just say thank you. If I were Noelle, I would have snatched that sandwich back so fast. And even Jordan was like, really, Alex? Like, you can't be grateful? She did not have to do that. Now, here's my thing. If you have a whole bunch of dietary restrictions, then maybe you need to get your butt up and go to the store and get what you need to eat. Why is it their responsibility to make sure that they get things for you? They don't know what you eat, sir. They don't even know what you can eat. So if that's the case, if you're so picky, then next time you make sure to go to the grocery store and buy what you want to eat. Now, the way Summer damn near broke her neck looking at Noelle give Alex a sandwich, I said, oh, girl, you are pressed. Why are you so concerned? And the delusions of it all, because Summer said, see, that's why I passed him off to you. You didn't pass Alex off to anybody. Alex rejected you, sis. He told you that he didn't want you. He ended things. So how did you pass him off to Noelle when he rejected you? I just said, girl, can you just be quiet, please? Because again, you sound so dumb. Listen, he did something to you. The D must have been incredible because the way you act every time him and Noelle have a moment, you look hurt. So since everybody's in the house, Jasmine calls a house meeting. They were like, are you serious? About what? I was screaming because Preston said the spirit of Silas is coming right through you. So they sit down. Jasmine says that it's important to discuss house guests coming to stay. And she brings up how Shanice and Bria have plans to have Phil come to the house. And she wants to know, how do they feel about that? Everybody was like, hell no, that's not happening. And now Shanice goes on to ask, what if Phil apologized to everybody? They were still like, no thank you, we don't want Phil in this house. Amir says that Phil went after everybody. He was disrespectful to everybody, including himself, Preston, Jordan, Alex, what he did to Nick. When he pooped in Nick's toilet and didn't flush it, they're like, it's a no for me. And I'm confused. The way Phil showed his entire ass last season, I don't even know why he would want to come back. If I were Phil, I'd be too embarrassed to ever show my face around this group and on TV again. And Preston goes on to say, it's a no for me. I don't want him in there. Like, do not bring him in this house. I just feel uncomfortable. So Alex says that he appreciates Preston speaking up for himself and sharing how he feels because everybody in this house has the right to feel comfortable. Bria sounded delusional and silly, saying that Phil's a good person. I'm like, Bria, if you want to be around him so badly, then why don't you hang out with him when he comes to Martha's Vineyard? Why don't you go to the house that he's staying at and just be over there with them and leave the group alone? I don't know why you think that it makes sense to even bring up the idea about Phil coming around everybody. So Amir says, look, if you and Shanice want to hang out with Phil, that's cool, but do it over there away from us. We don't want to interact with him. So now Jasmine brings up Mariah coming and she's like, how does everybody feel about that? You have everybody saying, yeah, that's cool. I have no issues with Mariah. That's fine by me. And everybody's on board about Mariah coming except for Bria. So Bria gets up. She's like, you know what? I don't want to talk about this. Like, I'm good. And I'm just like, Bria, you have to grow up. You are too old to be acting so immature. Anytime it's not what you want to hear, your first inclination is to get up and leave. You've got to stop. So Bria starts whining about the issue that happened between her and Mariah last year. And she's like, but you guys don't want to address that. And I said, Bria, can you stop acting like Mariah went upside your head? Also, Bria, let's not forget that you and Summer got into it last season and Summer actually put her hands on you and nobody kicked her out the group. Summer's back for season 2 as a full-time cast member. So if you could forgive Summer for putting hands on you last season, then surely you'll be all right with Mariah. Mariah barely even touched you. So just stop. She was pushing you out of the way because you got in her face. And also, if I recall, you were saying to the press that you and Mariah were cool. So for you to act like, oh, I don't want her in this house and you're still angry about what happened, well, which one is it? Did you forgive her and you guys are cool, or you're still holding a grudge? Like, I'm confused. But the house meeting is over and now we see Shanice and Bria outside. They're on the phone with Phil, telling Phil all about how the house does not want him back. And Phil's talking about, oh, but I've changed as a person. And then Bria brings up how Preston was really upset. So you have Phil saying, ain't no grown-ass man that upset. And I'm like, who are you to tell him how he feels? So now we see a parallel scene of Preston crying. And he's talking to Amir and he's like, this is why I hate being the only gay person in this house sometimes, because of things like this. And I really felt bad for Preston. I knew this episode was going to be heavy because Preston had announced the day before the episode aired that it was triggering for him and he would not be live tweeting because of how people on the show didn't seem to care about his feelings. So Preston shares in his confessional that he was hurt when Phil called him soft. And he says, call it soft, call it whatever you want, but I know what he was trying to say. I know that feeling. And dealing with that from a young age, from other Black people who are supposed to love you, it hurts. And we know what that means when men call men soft. they're trying to say something else. Again, I was on Preston's side. He has every right to feel like it's F Phil and I don't want Phil anywhere near me. But we jump right back to Shanice and Bria outside, still on the phone with Phil. And Phil brings up that him and Mariah are close and they talk all the time, and that Mariah was going to be coming out anyway because Jasmine had bought her plane ticket. So you have Bria upset and she's like, wait, are you serious? So this was premeditated. Jasmine had already bought her ticket. This feels like a slap in the face. I just said, Bria, you cannot compare Mariah to your raggedy ass friend Phil. I said, please shut up. So now we see everybody getting ready for the night. They're going to be going out for dinner and then they're going to hit the club afterwards. So the way I got my entire life, because Alex was wearing this silk shirt, right? And it reminded me of that shirt that Theo wore on the Cosby Show, and Preston pointed it out. He was just like, oh, okay, Alex, with that Gordon Gartrell shirt, and the way the whole house broke out laughing. I said, oh my gosh, that was spot on. So now they're all at the restaurant and we see Alex say that dinner is on him tonight. And I'm just like, wait, Bravo, why aren't you paying for their dinners? Y'all have the money, but they have oysters and all that good stuff. And you guys know my mouth was watering during this scene. It's watering right now. So as everybody's eating dinner, they're talking about the pool party last night. They all say that Shanice did a great job. And Shanice shares that that's the first party that she's ever hosted. She says that it was nice to have a good time because this group is always having serious conversations. So right when she says that, Bria interjects and she addresses Jasmine. She's like, Jasmine, I have a quick question. Was it premeditated, you booking Mariah's ticket to come here? So Jasmine says, I definitely wanted Mariah to come for sure. And Bria, of course, does not accept that as an answer. She's like, but was her ticket already booked? So Jasmine says, well, it was booked last night, yes, but it was not premeditated. Jasmine goes on to say, look, girl, you guys all know how flights worked. If the house had said no, I would have canceled the flight and she would not be coming. It is what it is. So, of course, Bria has to mention Phil, and she says, well, I was talking to Phil, and he told me that he has plans on meeting up with Mariah. So now Jordan jumps in, and she's upset, and she's like, wait, Phil is not coming anywhere near this house. Like, let's make that clear. And baby, we know how Jordan is. The minute she gets activated, she's on one. So they're all calming her down. Bria says he's not coming to the house, but if you do see him out and about, that's not from me and Shanice. Jasmine makes it clear that she has no idea what Phil has been telling Bria, but she's like, girl, don't put me in all this mess. And if Mariah has something up her sleeve, I don't know nothing about it. So here's where I got annoyed, because you have Jordan jumping in to defend Bria. And she snaps at Jasmine and she's like, but here's the thing. When it came to Mariah and Bria, you had already booked the ticket without telling Bria. And I said, let's stop for a minute and use our brains. Let's put on our thinking caps, please. Because Bria and Shanice didn't have plans on telling Jasmine about Phil coming. That was going to be a big surprise for the house. So how are they getting mad at Jasmine because she didn't tell them about Mariah? I just don't understand. It just really shows that they want to find fault with whatever Jasmine does. Now, Summer, while I don't see it for you for many reasons, I told you guys in my last recap that Summer was very rude when I met her, but I digress. But Summer, I will always give props where props are due, because you were the only one to say, but listen, guys, we have to acknowledge that Jasmine did bring it up. She was the only one who said, let's have a conversation about it. And I said, exactly. Because Bria and Shanice were about to have Phil come to that house and cause all sorts of chaos and not even tell anybody. Props to Jasmine for saying, let's have a house meeting about this. How do we feel about this person coming? How do we feel about that person coming? Bria and Shanice had no intention of doing so. And Jordan, you sounded crazy saying, but that's not the point. I said, girl, it is the point. If you just want to hate Jasmine, then just say that. But again, It just looks really crazy how you want to blame Jasmine for everything. And it's giving mean girl energy and that you guys want to ice her out the group. Now, the way Jordan said, well, that's not the point, she low-key snapped at Summer. So Summer was like, well, damn, my bad. Let me just shut the F up then, because apparently I can't say anything. So now you have Bria saying, look, it's not that deep. And now Jasmine apologizes to Bria. She's like, look, Bria, if you felt set up, that was not my intention. I'm sorry. And I said, Jasmine, you're too nice. Stop apologizing for things that you don't have to be sorry for. You didn't do anything wrong. You had a house meeting. You were mature. You said, hey, how do y'all feel about Mariah? How do y'all feel about Phil? And Bria's such a brat, she didn't even receive your apology. She's like, well, that was shady. And I'm just like, see, Jasmine, you're too nice. And Bria, you're dragging it because you know good and well that Mariah was not a danger to anybody in that house. Phil, on the other hand, was. So now we see Amir being messy. He's trying to facilitate a conversation between Summer and Shanice. So he's just like, hey, Shanice, are you willing to talk to Summer right now? And Shanice was thrown off guard. She was just like, really? Another conversation? I've never had so many conversations in my life. So Shanice says, look, Summer, there's been tension between us. I didn't like when you tried to embarrass me the other night about not having clothes and being the worst dresser, because right now I don't have a job and money's tight. You know, she can't afford to buy new clothes. Now, Shanice, like I told you in the last recap, I'm going to need you to stop bragging about all these men that you are allegedly seeing, all these men that you're allegedly having sex with, because Miss Mamas, there should be no sex if you can't get any money to buy some clothes. Just saying. And you sound desperate and thirsty and immature to be bragging about how you're sending all these guys nudes, but you can't get any money from these men to get you some new clothes. It's embarrassing, and you're too old for this. So you have Summer trying to backpedal, and she's like, oh my gosh, Shanice, I didn't feel any tension between you and I thought that we were good. And then she goes on to say, it's not that you don't look good because you have the best body out of everybody. They were like, wait, like, hold on now. We all have nice bodies and we all have nice figures. Noelle was just like, girl, like, don't do it. So I think it was Preston who started laughing because Summer gets angry and she's like, it's not funny. Like, please stop laughing. And now Jordan snaps and says, girl, who's laughing? Summer and Jordan go at it. Summer's like, girl, I wasn't talking about you. Like, please. I just said, child, the issue between you and Jordan, you guys are too similar. Very similar personalities. You guys both have sharp tones. And that's why you guys are both so defensive around each other. But Shanice and Summer finally make up. And I said good because I couldn't go another episode hearing Shanice whine about Summer saying that she can't dress and she doesn't have any money. I'm tired of hearing about it. So they're cool. And now we see Bria say, hey guys, you guys have fun tonight. I'm going back to the house. I'm over it. And they were like, girl, what? Preston was so irritated. He was like, I'm so used to Bria walking off that the next time she does, I'm going to need her to go back to New York or go back to Germany because I'm tired. And again, Bria is very immature. Whenever things aren't going her way, she wants to throw a fit and leave. So we see half the group go inside to the restaurant. They're at the bar. And Summer is still at the table with Preston, Amir, and I want to say Alex and Jasmine too. And Summer's asking Preston, was she wrong for turning up on Jordan? And Preston's like, well, I mean, you know, you did yell at her. I get it. And now Summer says, but Jordan also raises her voice too. And Preston does acknowledge that, yes, Jordan does raise her voice too. She gets very passionate and very feisty. And she can also be mean. So now Summer brings up how they all allow Jordan to be angry. And Preston pretty much says, well, that's true. But at the same time, I guess we're so used to it. That's why we let it slide. And let me just say, that's a piss poor excuse. Me, along with a lot of the other viewers, have hated the way Jordan speaks to people since season 1. And somebody needs to nip it in the bud because the way she speaks is horrendous. And I'm like, girl, you don't see or hear yourself? Because the way you speak to people, it's just like, what is going on? It's so uncalled for. Jordan always has a nasty tone. She always sounds like she's on the brink of irritation, frustration, aggravation, like she's just over it. And she snaps at people so quickly. It's very off-putting. And I'm sorry, that's just not an excuse to say, well, she does it so often that we're just so used to it. You guys need to speak up and say, Jordan, if you can't talk to us with respect, it's time for you to go. And Jordan, my tone can get just as nasty too. So if I were in that house, I would have checked you a long time ago. So they're at the club. Everybody's there except for Bria because Bria is at home pouting about how she's angry and over it. Girl, we don't care. But anyhow, while they're dancing, having fun, we see Alex flirting with some woman at the bar. So Noelle is visibly upset. She's in her feelings. So we see her go in the bathroom with Jasmine and I think Shanice and Summer. And she's like, do you see Alex flirting with that other girl? And I'm feeling a type of way. And you have Jasmine saying, yeah, you have every right to feel a type of way. I said, hold on. This is that stuff I don't like because y'all sound delusional. Alex is not Noelle's man. She has no right to feel a way or possessive about this man who is not her man. And the secondhand embarrassment that I had when Noelle and Alex were outside talking, and Noelle was like, Alex, do you know that I have interest in you? And Alex is like, yeah, I figured that. It's kind of obvious, girl. So now Noelle says, well, I know that we're not together, but I get a bit territorial, a bit possessive. And I was just like, Noelle, girl, stop. Stop while you're ahead. Stop talking. This sounds crazy. It sounds desperate. It sounds delusional. So then she brings up the other night when she was flirting with Hendrix in front of Alex's face. And she was like, yeah, I realized that I was acting single and you're acting single now. And I'm like, what do you mean acting single? You guys are both single. You guys are not in a relationship. So what are you saying? You're a single woman. You have every right to flirt with who you want to flirt with. Alex is a single man. He has every right to flirt with who he wants to flirt with. Like, what are we saying right now? Noelle, had you played your cards right, you might have gotten farther with Alex because Alex did look pressed when you were flirting with Hendrix the other night. Had you just stayed calm and not brought this up to Alex, he might have come after you. But you talking to him saying, do you know that I like you? I'm like, and y'all know me, I don't believe in women shooting their shots. I just feel like if I have to tell a man that I like him first, he obviously does not like me because if a man wants you, he's going to make it known that he wants you. So the fact that you have to say, hey, you know, I like you. Did you know that? Then he probably doesn't like you. That's just my opinion. I felt like this whole conversation was a hot mess. And Noelle, again, I had secondhand embarrassment. And Noelle, you are too pretty to have this desperate energy. I just said, girl, don't ever do this again. And then Alex ended up turning you down. He was like, look, I think that you're a fun girl. I think that you're a sweet girl. But I've been in situations where people created expectations for me. He's obviously talking about Summer. But she was so embarrassed. She was like, wait, you're turning me down. I feel so embarrassed right now. And he was like, don't be embarrassed. It's cool. But I said, Noelle, don't put yourself in that position. I was listening to somebody, but it was this man who made a great point. He said, women, stop shooting your shot. He said, do not ever put yourself in a position where you have some rusty behind man turning you down, telling you that he doesn't want you. He said, don't do it. And I was cringing because watching him turn her down like that, I said, Noelle, you're too pretty for this. You should have left this alone. I don't know why you would listen to Summer or Shanice telling you, oh yeah, girl, you have the right to feel a type of way. Go talk to him outside. There was nothing to talk about. Alex is not sending for you. Don't come for him saying, hey, you know, I like you. Do you like me? But I was screaming when Noelle and Alex went back inside the club and we see Noelle chugging down that Corona. I said, not Ashley Darby. I said, because honey, Ashley Darby will chug a Corona down. But now we see them leaving the club, and now they pull up in front of the house, and Jordan, Summer, Preston, and I think Alex were in the same car. And Jordan and Summer get into it. I could not tell you how the argument even popped off. Summer wasn't making any sense. You have Jordan screaming, and Preston keeps saying, guys, just stop, just stop. But that's where the episode ends. Again, I'm so over Jordan and Summer because they are two sides of the same coin. They both have that mean girl energy, and they both have very sharp tones. So them butting heads does not surprise me. But I just said, what are y'all arguing about now? But guys, that was the episode. That was my recap. I enjoyed this episode. I think that they are really going to have a strong season. And again, y'all, please tune in for Summer House, Martha's Vineyard. Let's get those ratings up. Let's get them to where they need to be so that they can be renewed for a season 3, a season 4, a season 5. All right? But again, that was my recap. Thank you all for watching. And you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.